velocities just for a little bit there. Not the case even as of the next 10 minutes from when really this was warned. Definitely seeing some improvement with the system. But let's take a look at the overall storm itself because it is a pretty healthy storm. There's a severe thunderstorm warning also out for this storm currently right now. Could be producing up to 2-inch hail according to some of our radar products. So I'm actually going to switch this back over to our reflectivity and show you what's going on there. See some of these pinks showing up in northern portions of Aiken County, right near the Lexington County line. That's where we could be seeing some of the hail. And this is what we call an inflow notch. You can see how the storm takes a little bit of a 90-degree turn right here. That area right in the middle is where we would see that rotation in the system, like we showed you in that velocity scan. Thankfully not really active or healthy looking right now. So we do have this tornado warning out. But with that being said, there's other threats with this, including that heavy rain, lightning, and potential for large hail, all moving towards Lexington County. You can see Pelion out towards the east, just outside of this warning box. So do expect at least some heavy rain and lightning with the system as it continues to work out towards the east. I'm going to put the information with this warning up on the screen so you can see what we're looking at currently, all the information with that. And also take a little bit of a larger view what's going on with the system. You can see a pretty large storm with rain stretching up all the way into portions of western Lexington County as well as southern Saluda County. So definitely a large system. We have our severe thunderstorm warning there. Let me go ahead and get up the information. But there's our tornado warning. So that's until 10:45. You can see that the National Weather Service does indicate that risk of larger hail now at 1.25 inches potentially. And that's going to be on the northern side of the system where we do see hail. The tornado would be right here, but thankfully that rotation not looking too healthy currently. Definitely going to keep an eye on the system as it continues to work towards the east. So for another 15 minutes, we're going to stay on air with you as we take a look at this as it continues to work towards Lexington County. Of course, as you move up I-20, that population getting a little bit denser. So this storm is going to impact more people as it continues to work towards the east. If you're in Wagner, keep an eye on this right now. You're right on the edge of the tornado warning box, but with that, if this starts to move a little bit towards the south, that's something we'll have to keep an eye on as you get a little bit closer. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and switch things over to the velocity. We'll take another look at what's going on. This is right near 134, State Road 134, general vicinity, as well as State Road 39 in the area. Let me go ahead and switch that over. And we'll take another look at the velocity product. This is pretty much showing where there would be rotation so we can see the direction of these storms, and it's still a very broad rotation. So what we're looking at right now is really just the southern portion of this box that's currently in Aiken County. What we'd be looking for is these greens and reds touching, and you can see right here, here's the rotation. So definitely a little bit more defined than that last scan, still working towards the east. We're going to put a track on this here in a second to show you some of the communities impacted, but this right here is what we're watching for that motion right now. Let me go ahead and put a track up on this, moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So what we'll do is go ahead and pull that up and put some of the communities that could see this system moving through really within the next 30 minutes. So towards Wagner, right around 10:45, or north, I should say, of Wagner around 10:45, Perry, 10:52, eventually reaching Pelion right around 11:01 if this does hold together, and you can see that rotation right here. So this is what we're watching right now, really the southern edge of this tornado warning box. So if you're up to the north, still be in your safe space, and definitely keep an eye on the system as it continues to go towards the east. If you're in the northern portions of Wagner right now, though, you need to be inside in an internal room and make sure you're staying safe as the system continues to move towards the east, right around 30 miles per hour. This warning out for another 10 to 15 minutes as we continue to see this move through. Let's talk about what's been going on today, because we have been seeing a lot of severe weather really throughout the day. It's been since the morning and the evening times, but we've had this stalled front over the area, and with that, we've seen multiple rounds of storms. So this is just more of the same this time now, including the potential maybe some tornadic weather. And this is really the only storm right now that is having severe characteristics here in the Midlands. If you're in Columbia, Winsboro, Camden, you're seeing some light showers, and this is all working towards the east. The first of really a couple rounds of storms that we're expecting in the overnight hours that could continue through about 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning. So something we will be watching. I think that tornado threat will definitely be lower as we go into the later portions of the night, as well as that severe weather threat. So that's the good news as you head off to bed. Really just more of your general thunderstorms. But right now we are continuing to track this tornado warning storm that's moving from Aiken County into Lexington County this evening. We're going to go ahead and pull up all the information again so that you guys can see what's going on with this system. Let's go ahead and pull up the tornado warning. That's for Aiken and Lexington counties until 10:45. The system itself is moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and actually clean everything up on here so that we can see this a little bit closer. It looks like they just cut down the tornado warning a little bit as the system continues to move out towards the east. So what I'm going to do is switch us back over to the velocity scan so we can take a look at the winds, because that's really going to be the story with this, is going to be that wind. And it looks like it's almost right outside of that box. So what I'm seeing is the rotation right along the edge of the box here. So I'm going to go ahead and put another track on the system. 30 minutes out. So this should be anywhere in the next 30 minutes. Wagner around 10:41, Berlin around 10:47, Thor 10:53, and Darwin School around 10:57. Pelion right around 11 o'clock. If this continues to hold itself together right now, we haven't really seen any good indications of healthy rotation with the system. So definitely the good thing that we've seen with this. But of course, enough rotation that we do have this tornado warning out until 10:45. So about another 10 minutes here. If you are in the path of this system, just make sure you're getting inside into your safe space and waiting things over as this continues to move through. It's dark outside. When we get these tornadoes, or these potential tornadoes at night, that's where we see a lot of damage and a lot of injuries occur because people are just not aware of what's going on outside. So it makes things a little bit more complicated. Just be on the safe side as this continues to move through. And with that, the potential of some at least larger hail with the system as well, but really watching this rotation right now, pushing out towards the east and the northern portions of Aiken County towards Lexington County currently. Let's go ahead and switch us back over to the reflectivity. We'll take a look at the storm itself and the rainfall and see what's going on there. And so it's a couple things that I'm at least noticing right now. The storm itself is not looking as healthy as it was just a little bit before. So let me go ahead and zoom out, and we'll go ahead and put the information once again on the top for this warning. There's a tornado warning, and that's once again for Aiken and Lexington counties until 10:45 tonight, moving to the east just towards Wagner. So if you're in Wagner, make sure you're getting in your safe space, taking your precautions. But look at all this to the north. Very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, potentially some hail with the system as well. Something we'll be keeping an eye. So Pelion, you'll be seeing this moving through very soon, at least that heavy precipitation associated with this storm. We're starting to see things at least a little bit more messy inside of this inflow area. So that's telling me maybe this storm, not as healthy as it was a little bit ago, but still pretty impressive. You can see we have this hook right here, and that's a telltale sign of a supercellular storm or a storm that spins. And that's why we're seeing this chance of a tornado. Looks like that rotation potentially making it down at least close to the surface. And let me go ahead and I'll zoom back into where we're really looking at. Just north of Wagner is where we're seeing. So you can also see Perry on the map. I'll go ahead and do a little bit of more of a localized view here. Here is the actual rotation we're watching right now. So that red and green, and then I'll put out a track on this out towards the east. So Kenny Branch School right around 10:43, Berlin around 10:47, Thor 10:53, and Darwin School right around 10:57. Looks like it should just past south of Pelion right now, but we'll keep an eye on that. And of course, you are outside the box, but if this does continue, here's that rotation. The red is winds away from the radar site, the greens are towards, and that's the rotation right there. So that's circling motion inside the storm, and that's where we could potentially see a tornado form with this system. I'm going to switch us over to another product that actually helps us see a little bit different things with this storm. We can switch over to the correlation coefficient. That actually shows us the potential of any debris with these storms. And let me go ahead and make sure. It looks like my system might be freezing up here. Sorry about that, folks. It looks like the system froze up. Let me go ahead and zoom us back into what we're looking at right now. And I'm going to switch us back over to that product I was talking about. So correlation coefficient, this shows us the potential of some debris. And what we would be looking for is pretty much a little circle of some of these blues inside the system. We don't really see that as of right now. So that's definitely a good sign. But what I am seeing right here, see this little bit of a line right here? That's an indication potentially of some hail blocking the beam right there. So there is a potential, I think, of some larger hail with this system outside of that tornado threat as you get a little bit north of Wagner here. Pelion, of course, just outside the warning. If this does get continued, this is until 10:45 tonight. So that gives us about another 5 minutes that we'll be watching this system. Let me go ahead and switch us back over to the winds, because really that is the important thing that we're watching right now. We still have that rotation just north of Wegner right now. And let me go ahead and circle what we're looking at currently. It's just to the north and west of the city. And I'll put a track on here so you guys can see that. And then also put the information for the warning itself. So there's the tornado warning, 10:45. So that's another 5 minutes. That's for Aiken and Lexington counties, and that's due to the fact that we have this rotating storm moving through the area. So this is a radar indicated tornado. We haven't had any confirmations of anything on the ground, but with it being dark outside, definitely take this threat seriously. We are seeing that rotation just north of Wegner. This is pushing towards the east, right around 30 miles per hour. So places like Kenny Branch School, Berlin School, within the next 10 minutes, this will be pushing through your area. Thor Union Hill School around 10:56, and eventually moving into Lexington County here right around 11 o'clock tonight. And we'll keep an eye if this does continue to hold together. You can see that rotation clearly on the radar. So it looks like the system's at least holding itself together. It just seems like we're not getting tight enough circulation to potentially form a tornado on the ground. But of course, taking things at least with this seriously, with all the severe weather we've had today, and of course with it being nighttime. So if you are in the path of this system as it continues to move east, make sure you're in your safe space, and also make sure that you are keeping up to date with the latest motion of this storm. You can do that on the WLTX app as well as online in case you potentially lose power. Let's take a little bit of a wider view of what's going on right now and show you what's happening, because I know a lot of viewers probably outside of this area wondering what they're seeing right now. We only have this one tornado warning currently out for the Midlands. There's no other severe thunderstorm warnings currently. We do have some rain out towards the west. So places like Saluda County, out towards Batesburg, Leesburg, Red Bank, you're seeing some pretty heavy precipitation. Edgefield County as well, seeing some thunderstorm activity. As you go out towards the east, we're seeing some thunderstorms out towards Winnsboro, eastern, or I should say western portions of Kershaw County, and as you head towards the northern portions as well. By the 95 corridor, you're quiet right now, but this is all moving towards the east. So I'm going to put this into motion to show you guys pretty much what we've been seeing, at least for the last couple hours. This is all part of a stalled front. So we have our one storm that's pushing now into very southern portions of Lexington County, even towards portions of northern Orangeburg County, and the rest of this precipitation is really the beginning of things to come. It looks like we're going to see more of this rain as we continue to go into the overnight hours. There is the chance of more severe weather, but I don't think the tornado chance is really going to continue that much longer. It's going to switch more towards a hail and damaging wind threat in the overnight hours, and with that, potentially even some flash flooding. We've picked up over 2 inches of rain, especially in the southern Midlands today, and with more of this precipitation on the way, that's something we'll be keeping an eye on to potentially cause some issues. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the storm that we've been talking about for the last 15-20 minutes. I'm going to hide the lightning as well, because we're looking at really just north of Wagner now, right on the Lexington County border. You see these pinks right here. This is likely some hail being picked up by the radar, and I would not be too surprised to see an inch to inch and a half size hail being dropped by this system right now. It's a very healthy looking system. We have this, what's called a hook echo with this supercell. It's a rotating storm, and that rotation is why we are seeing that chance of tornadic weather. We'll go ahead and switch this back once again to velocity to take a look. And I think the good news is the storm isn't getting its act together still. So we're looking at broad rotation with this. I'll go ahead and circle. Pretty much what we're looking at right now is this area just to the north of Wagner and Aiken County. That is moving currently to the east at 30 miles per hour. So I'm going to put over the longer track. We've been taking some shorter track looks at this. Let me go out into Lexington and Orangeburg counties here. So this is if the system holds together right now. You can see that broad rotation. So we're just in the radar indicated possibility of a tornado. We have not had a confirmation of anything on the ground, thankfully, with the system yet. But if it does continue to hold itself together and go to the east, places like Berlin around 1051, Berlin School around 1052, Thor 1057, Swansea around 1116, and then eventually moving into portions of at least southern Lexington and northern Orangeburg counties. As this continues to work towards the east, there's still that chance of some pretty heavy rain and as well as hail with this if we're not seeing any tornadic activity on the ground. So I don't want you to really write this storm off quite yet. Still definitely a stronger storm pushing through the Midlands, causing some issues tonight, and what's been really an active day here across the Midlands. I'm going to go ahead and move back just a little bit more though, and wait and see if this tornado warning does actually get continued or not. So it looks like there is now a tornado warning out for Aiken, Lexington, and Orangeburg counties until 11:15. So they just went ahead and they expanded that tornado warning for another 30 minutes here. So we'll have to keep you guys on air as this continues to work towards the east, right around 30 miles per hour. National Weather Service saying the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 11 miles northeast of Aiken State Park, or 18 miles southwest of Red Bank, moving right to the east of 30 miles per hour. So that's what we've really been watching here. Let me go ahead and switch us back over to the latest information on this, and we will do a reset here now that we have a new warning out and show you what's going on. So this now does include Orangeburg County, places like Gaston, Swansea, and North Pelion. You are underneath this tornado warning now. Woodford currently under the warning. Let me go ahead and I'll circle what we're watching right now. So it's this area right here where the red and the green are touching each other. That's our area of rotation moving to the east, right around 30 miles per hour. Let me go ahead and put a track on that for the next 45 minutes or so we can see what's going on. So I think currently passing just south of Pelion, but if you're in Pelion, you want to make sure you're in your safe space, keeping your eye on this. Berlin 10:53, Woodford around 11:15, and Gaston at 11:20 p.m. If this continues to hold itself together, of course, this box now out for the next 30 minutes. So we'll be watching the storm, the rotation right now just north of Wagner, moving towards the east, towards southern Lexington County. North, you're going to be in this box as well, right around 11:20, and this is going to be moving right along really that area of Aiken County towards Lexington and Orangeburg counties where they all come together. So something we'll be keeping an eye on there, but here's your rotation, and with that moving out towards the east. I'm going to go ahead and show you the rain with this as well, just to keep you guys up to date on that, because we have had the threat of potentially some hail with the system currently. And let me remove everything that we're looking at right now. So there's a couple things that I'm looking at currently First off is we still have a pretty healthy system just north of Wagner where we would see that rotation just north. So this is what we call a hook echo, pretty much where the air is being inflowed or sucked into the system here, and it's all spinning just north of Wagner, but to the north of that is where we typically see our heaviest rain and potentially some hail. So that would be heading towards Pelion. So I think the biggest concerns for you guys would actually be some hail and torrential rain within the next 20 minutes moving in with this system. The one good thing I see is all this precipitation down in the south. The hope with that would be this would get ingested into the storm, and hopefully that makes it a little bit more messy as we go in the next 20 or so minutes. And if that's the case, we'll start to see things die down, at least with this system as we go forward. But as of right now, still that defined hook echo just north of Wagner and Aiken County. And this is that tornado warning. We'll put up the information once again to show you guys what's going on with that. But that is now out until 11:15. So like we talked about, that chance of hail, and you can see some of those really dark reds and pinks north of Wagner heading towards Pelion, a chance of 1 inch to 1.5 inches hail with this system, enough to cause some damage. So definitely take this seriously, even though you're not likely in the path of the circulation, could see some damaging hail. That would eventually head towards Swansea as well, as long as this system is holding together. But we're really watching right here until 11:15, this system moving out towards the east. That's going to include places like Gaston, North, Swansea, and Wagner. So really the next 25 minutes or so that we're going to be continuing to watch this system move into the area. We'll pull up the velocity project again, once again, to show you guys the circulation, because that's really the one thing that we're trying to keep an eye on with this system. That's why we have that tornado warning out currently. We go ahead and circle what we're looking at right here. So now to the northeast of Wagner, still some broad rotation with this. So not seeing anything that screams, a tornado on the ground right now, but enough rotation, of course, that we have this tornado warning out. And whenever we get these storms at night, something we need to keep an eye on. It's dark outside. People are trying to go to bed, so we need to at least play things on the safe side. So if you are in Berlin School area towards North Edisto School, Swansea, Calvary School, within the next 30 minutes, make sure you're here in your safe space and interior room as the system continues to move through. And with that, got a new scan in, and it looks like at least that rotation potentially not as impressive as we've seen really with over the next last 15 to 20 minutes. So definitely a good sign there. Let's go ahead and switch over actually to the hail product here, because I want to show you guys what at least our system is looking at with the potential for some hail with this. You can see that was a pretty sizable. Even that threat looks to be at least a little bit less. So we were looking at the potential of 2-inch hail just to the northwest of Wagner in Aiken County. Of course, still detecting that chance of rain around 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So that's those light blues that we're seeing right here continuing to spread out towards the east, towards Pelion, especially down towards the south of Pelion. Definitely the chance of seeing some hail with this system as it continues to move through the region. And I think that right now is probably the biggest concern on my end with the system, with that rotation not looking as good as it once did. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a broader view though, what's going on, and show you guys, because I know a lot of viewers probably right now at least not in Aiken County or Lexington County, might be somewhere else wondering what's going on right now. So let's go ahead and switch us back over to the radar. We have our tornado warning currently out. That's for Lexington, Aiken, and Orangeburg counties until 11:15. But we have a lot of rain. I'm going to show you guys even out west. A lot of thunderstorm activity out towards the west. This is continuing to move our way, and with that, we will have the chance of maybe some flash flooding on top of whatever we see for the rest of the night. So something we'll be definitely watching as this continues to move through. In fact, looks like a flash flood warning out for the Atlanta Metro right now. So it's been a very active day. We had the severe thunderstorm warnings to start off the day, and now we're ending the day with more warnings across the region. But if you are in places like Columbia right now, you're not under any warning. Let's go ahead and take a closer look across the Midlands. What we're really looking at right now is really just that one warned storm, southern Lexington into Aiken County, as we are seeing some heavy precipitation in Saluda right now. just north of Johnston, really stretching up towards Saluda. Heavier rain, lightning, and then as we go out towards the east, if you're in places like Batesburg, Leesville, towards Red Bank and Lexington, we are seeing currently heavy rain, no severe weather. So that is definitely good news. Outside of this, that we're just really not seeing too much in the way of at least any strong to potentially damaging storms. Really, the focus has been this one storm really for the last 30 to 40 minutes. Let's go ahead and hide that lightning so we can see the detail. And this is definitely some good news like we talked about. Remember we had, and let me put some motion on this, what we were talking about really just a matter of minutes ago was the rain being ingested into the system. So you see this line that went right up into the supercell. This is gonna pretty much choke up its air that it was sucking in, keeping it healthy. And it looks like that has finally happened. And it's at least right now weakening the storm. That's why we don't see really much in the way of rotation with it right now. We do still have that tornado warning out, but that hook that we had that was moving through portions of Aiken County no longer present on the radar right now. Definitely a good sign in my opinion of what we've been seeing there. Let's go ahead and switch over to velocity. I want to be able to confirm the latest with what we're seeing there, and even there, not looking at least very impressive in my mind. So let me slow this down, and you'll be able to see really, I'll just circle it up on your screen so you guys can see it a little bit better here. What we've been watching essentially has been right in here. So you can see that red and green flared up right around 10:15, 10:20, and has worked out towards the east. That's been the rotation we're watching, but really just not impressive right now. So we had that flare up of the wind speeds, but ever since then, things are starting to calm down a little bit with the storm. Still the potential of some pretty sizable hail, damaging winds, torrential rain, and lightning. So don't take this seriously, but at least that tornado threat looks to be a little bit less than it was even 10 to 15 minutes ago. That being said, this storm could cycle up and try to spin up another tornado here in a second. We've only had radar indicated tornado with the storm though, so that means we haven't had the confirmation yet of anything on the ground, thankfully, in this area. But take it as there is a tornado on the ground. So if you're in the path of the system moving towards the east, we talk about places like Swansea, Woodford, north towards Pelion. Just get inside your house, an interior room, a safe space as the system continues to move over the next 30 minutes or so. We have that warning out until 11:15. So that puts us right now about 20 minutes until this warning expires across these three counties. And as of what I'm seeing right now, I don't know if they're going to continue to keep this tornado warning active unless we start to see things getting a little bit more impressive on this velocity scan. But let's go ahead and we'll put up another track on this and show you guys what we're looking at right now. And we'll go ahead and pause this as well. So really the rotation somewhere in here now, just getting so messy, it's hard to really even to determine where we're seeing that rotation. But let's go ahead and put that track on this. So this is 45 minutes out. North Edessa School around 11:04, 11:17 around Swansea, north around 11:19, and then Wolfton right around 11:30. If you're in Pelion, we've been talking about the chance of some heavier rain and some hail. So that's gonna be on the north side of the circulation, but the circulation right here, thankfully not very impressive right now, but with that being said, any of these communities along this path, make sure you're in your safe space, taking this threat at least for another 15 minutes seriously until we see potentially either this extended or we see them drop this warning. The good news as of right now, we've seen this warning out for about 20 to 30 minutes, and we haven't had anything confirmed quite yet, which means this storm has not produced a tornado likely yet, but there is that capability of producing a tornado with this system, which is why we're on air letting you know what's going on here. And this has really just been a lot of active weather today. We had 8 severe thunderstorm warnings put out earlier this morning. Saw some hail, even some damaging winds out in portions of Manning. Some businesses had the front of their storefront blown in by some strong winds earlier on today. Now we're dealing with this. This is all part of a system or a stalled cold front essentially in the region. We have a lot of moisture in place. If you've been outside, it's very humid, and that's why we're seeing these thunderstorms with the wind energy and that front. and we're getting all this active weather. And that's going to continue in the overnight. In fact, let me go ahead and switch us over to what we're seeing later tonight, because you might be wondering what's moving through. And essentially what we're looking at is the potential of more stormy weather as we go into portions of the overnight hours. I think that severe weather threat is going to be at least less in the terms of tornadic weather. We'll keep the chance of some stronger weather in the overnight. So this is at least our futurecast right now. I'm going to pull this up for a second and show you guys. We have the storms moving through right now. That's actually going to increase as you go towards midnight and overnight hours. So don't be surprised if you hear some thunder, see some lightning in the early morning hours. And there is the chance of maybe some severe weather in those overnight periods, as well as flash flooding. You can see that rain continues through about 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the morning, eventually starting to move out of the area as you go into the afternoon hours. So we're still watching, at least for that threat of severe weather. Currently sitting at, and let me go ahead, we're actually under a slight risk now, but everything on the side here. So you can disregard this map. This actually isn't updated for today, but these threats are updated. Right now, I think hail, heavy rain, going to be at least the biggest concern. And like we've seen right now, the chance of tornado is there, even though that's probably the least of our concerns with these storms tonight. But as you've seen, it only takes one storm to see the potential of a tornado. Damaging winds, of course, will be a potential as you head into the overnight tonight. So let's switch you back over to the radar and show you what's going on. Once again, that tornado warning out until 11:15 tonight. And with that, we've been underneath those warnings across portions of the south and central portions of the Midlands. And let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys real quick. And we'll get that information up on you. So here's the storm itself. Just in the southern portions of Lexington County. We'll get rid of that lightning so you guys can see what's going on. Pelion, you're seeing some torrential rain right now. Gas and Swansea, so you're seeing heavy rain as well. Plenty of lightning. I would say the hail itself probably right around this region right here if we're seeing any. So just along and south of Pelion where we would be seeing any potential of large hail. And then what we're looking at right now is at least the general storm has been pushing in that way and then out that way. So that's been the rotation that we've been watching with this. We'll go ahead and put like an entire track for this storm on here and push it out towards the east for everyone to see. Let me go ahead and reset that so we have the correct times. But what we're looking at right now, moving out towards the east, so we'll extend this even over towards Calhoun County. Swansea around 11:08, north around 11:09 for at least the core of the storm to get through. Calvary School around 11:16, Wolfton 11:23, Briarhead School 11:33, and eventually St. Matthews around 11:45. So that's if this storm holds together in its current form. Like we've said, it looks like it's weakened. So I would be surprised if we continue to see this tornado warning out, but I would not be shocked to continue to see maybe a severe thunderstorm warning associated with this system as it continues to work towards the east. Looking impressive enough, at least for some larger hail and some very heavy rain as it moves around 30 miles per hour through our viewing area. So let's take a little bit of a closer look on some of the communities being impacted right now, and also take a look at our rotation, what we're currently seeing with this. And we are still seeing at least the signs of maybe some rotation with this. Let me go ahead and zoom in where that currently is. So right pretty much where we see the three counties meet, in between Perry and Woodford. Let me go ahead and circle that right now. Right here is where we're watching that rotation. Let me go ahead and put a track for what we can see for the next 20 minutes or so. So Woodford around 11:13, Trinity School around 11:19. This is right where we're seeing the intersection. So that's Lexington County, Aiken County, Orangeburg County, and right here is that rotation that we're watching. The reds are the winds coming away from the radar. The greens are coming in, and right in the middle is where we see that rotation pushing towards the east. In between Perry here and Wagner is where we're seeing this rotation continue to move through. Let me go ahead and switch over to a product that we call correlation coefficient. So this is a way that we could potentially see, let me check, and we have nothing new from the National Weather Service as of right now, so they have not added or taken away any warnings currently. But let me go ahead and switch us over to another radar product here called Correlation Coefficient. Pretty much lets us see if there's any debris being picked up on the radar. And right now, not seeing anything that indicates the potential of any debris with the system. So that's definitely good. We're not seeing a radar confirmed tornado with this, but we are seeing a radar indicated. So that means that the potential for a radar, or I should say a tornado to form is going to be there with this system. Let's pretty much go back to this. I'll go ahead and do what we're seeing right here. So the wind is moving in this way and that way, and then right in the middle, pretty much in between Perry and Woodford right here is where we're seeing that threat of a potential tornado on the ground currently moving towards the east. Like we talked about Woodford, if you're in Woodford right now, that's northern Orangeburg County, even northern portions of north in Orangeburg County. Make sure you're in your safe place. Right now, it's nighttime. You will not be able to see a tornado if there is one on the ground. There's a lot of rain around this as well. So you will not see this coming if there is a tornado on the ground right now moving towards the east at you around 30 miles per hour. So just stay inside, stay in an interior room until this all blows over. And the good news, like we said, nothing confirmed as of right now. So at least the history with this storm is that it hasn't been able to produce a tornado. We're hoping it stays that way as it continues to move towards a little bit more populated areas out towards portions of southern Lexington and northern Orangeburg counties. I'm going to switch us back over to the reflectivity and some of our hail products here, so we can take a look at what we've been seeing, at least hail-wise, with this. So you can see pretty much the hail has been tracking to the north of this rotation. So I'm going to go ahead and actually put some hail sizes on here and show you what we've been looking at currently, at least radar indicated hail sizes. Let me go ahead and make sure it's not pulling up. But right now we've been looking at, so the yellows right here, anywhere from around an inch to an inch and a half of hail moving right through Peeling right now, like we talked about, heading towards Gaston as well as Swansea. Within the next 15 to 20 minutes, this tornado warning out for another 10 minutes. So that's for Aiken, Orangeburg, and Lexington counties, at least southern Lexington and northern or northwestern portions of Orangeburg County until 11:15. So that gives us about 10 minutes left to see if the National Weather Service is going to extend this warning. Let's go back to the radar and take a look at what we're seeing right now, because at least in my mind, the rotation isn't really, we've always been either seeing broad rotation or we're seeing some type of rotation, but it's never really getting its act together enough that we're seeing the potential, I think, in my mind, for a tornado on the ground. That remains to be the case really in this very eastern portion of Aiken County. Now moving into at least southern Lexington is where we're seeing that rotation, but really not getting tight enough for us. And even in that latest scan, this is not screaming a tornado on the ground to me, which is definitely good news. That's been the case, and we hope that to be the case as you go throughout the rest of this tornado warning. Right about 10 minutes right now. Let's actually go back to the reflectivity though, because I think the biggest risk that we're seeing with the storm right now is the potential of some larger hail. So I'm going to switch us back over to our reflectivity that shows us our rain. And you can see, let me get rid of this hail swath right here. Things just not looking as healthy as it was 15, 20, 30 minutes ago. We were not seeing a system that looked this messy, in my opinion. So definitely torrential rain with this. You can see the yellows, the reds, Swansea, Gaston, Pillion. You're also seeing some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning with this system, the potential of some damaging winds. But we keep looking at this area right around here, that's a little bit of a bend right here, and it's just not looking as well put together as what we saw 30 minutes ago. And that's telling me, at least right now, that chance of a tornado has really decreased quite a bit over the last little bit here. And I think that's definitely some good news. With that being the case, like we talked about, Swansea, Woodford, make sure you're in your safe space as you continue to go through the next 9 to 10 minutes that this warning is out. Let me go ahead, we need to get the warning information back up here, and we can go ahead and highlight that for everyone to see once again. And then we'll go ahead and take actually a reset and look at the entire viewing area. Now it looks like that threat with this tornadic weather might be winding down with this system, but we do have a tornado warning out until 11:15 p.m. That includes Aiken, Lexington, and Orangeburg counties, and communities like Gaston, North, Pillion, and Swansea, all in this tornado warning currently. Really right now, if you're in Pillion, I think you're in the clear at least for the tornado threat. You're likely in the heavy rain and potentially large hail threat right now. But places like Woodford, Swansea, and North need to keep an eye on this as it continues to work towards east for the next 7 to 10 minutes. We'll keep an eye if they continue to keep this tornado warning active here after we go to 11:15. My guess right now, if I had to say anything, is it's looking a lot weaker. So hopefully it looks like that tornado threat is winding down with this system, but we have a couple minutes to go here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out and show you guys the rest of the Midlands because we have a lot of viewers, of course, not being impacted by this warning right now. I want to show you at least what's going on right now because even here at the station in Columbia, we're hearing lightning outside. Let me go ahead and turn on that lightning so you can see everything that's going on. We do have some rain across the region moving through. So Saluda towards Ward in Saluda County, Batesburg, Leeville, you're seeing some pretty heavy rain. Lexington, moderate to heavy rain out towards Chapin as well, but none of that is severe currently. So we're only really looking at this one storm in the Midlands, and we do continue to see that severe threat as we head into the overnight hours. In fact, as you take a look out towards the west, this isn't our viewing area, but it's out towards Georgia. You can see that severe thunderstorm warning out for portions of eastern Georgia. And I think the real threat as we go forward is going to be that chance of some hail and damaging winds. That tornado threat was very small today, and it looks like we just got into the quote-unquote unlucky spot here that we could see the potential of a tornado, but that's really not the threat tonight. It's going to be flash flooding, hail, and even some damaging winds because look at this out towards the west. We have a lot of very heavy rain stretching into Alabama and Georgia, and this is a stalled front in the area. Let me go ahead and put some motion on this and show you guys really where it's heading. It's heading right towards us, towards the east. So we have a lot of rain, a lot of thunderstorm activity likely throughout the rest of the night that we'll be dealing with. And with that being said, I think the biggest concern as you head throughout the rest of tonight will be the possibility of flash flooding. It's going to be dark outside. So if you are heading out on the roads, if you need to be out on the roads tonight, just keep that in mind. If you see any water-covered roads, make sure you turn around. Don't go through it because that's actually how we see most of our injuries and issues with weather is people driving through flooded roads. So we'll be keeping an eye on that over the rest of the night. Let's take a closer look once again at the storm. Now moving into portions of southern Lexington County, northern Orangeburg County. We'll move the lightning away so you can see the storm itself a little bit better here. And with that, we're still seeing pretty much what we're seeing right now. I'll paint the picture for you. We have winds going this way, winds going that way. And so in between is where we're seeing the rotation with this system. And that's where we've been concerned about there being a tornado with this storm. I'm going to go ahead and switch us back over to velocity because we can't tell anything about the winds with that look. And even looking at this, there's just nothing that screams a tornado on the ground currently. Definitely a messier bit of circulation here, which is good news. We like to really get that out, is that is good news. We don't want the system to be strong. We want this to look as messy as possible. So for the next 5 minutes, we're going to continue to watch this as it works towards east. National Weather Service said right around 30 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and get another track on this and get some of the communities. North Edisto School, if you're near there, around 11:11 p.m. Calvary School around 11:31. Beaver Creek School around 11:40. This would be moving near the communities of Woodford, really, is what we're looking at right now. So let me go ahead and zoom in. Really show you guys what we're looking at. This circulation pretty much heading in this direction right here. So just north of Woodford, that is actually in Orangeburg County here that we're watching right now, this moving through. And with that, that is what we'll be watching. So if you're to the north of that, if you're towards Gaston right now, not really, you're not in the immediate danger zone with this, but something we'll be watching over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Let me go ahead and check real quick. It looks like the tornado warning has not been continued, or it has, they had, no, sorry, I'm misspeaking here. They have not put up any updates to the tornado warning. currently. We do have Chief Meteorologist Efren Infante just walked in, so he is going to be helping us here in a second. While he's getting set up, though, we'll take another look at this right now and show you guys what we're looking at currently just along the Aiken and Lexington County lines, that we're seeing some of that really broad rotation. So really not I'm not too impressed with this, which is, I think, some good news with that, what we're looking at right now. And, okay, and so we'll take a look at that. You can see right now, here's a recap from earlier today. So we had those 8 severe thunderstorm warnings out earlier, and with that, we had wind reports out in Manning, where we had some businesses that were impacted. The fronts of businesses were actually damaged from this storm. Let's go ahead. And let's go ahead and actually switch us back over to the radar here. So now you guys have the picture of that. We'll take the lightning off once again. And we talked about this, the potential for this to get a little bit messier. I will say the storm itself looks to be getting its act together just a little bit more, but we haven't heard anything from the National Weather Service. So this warning technically expires in 3 minutes here. Let me go ahead and get the actual information up for everyone just joining us. We are covering a tornado warning currently that includes Aiken County, as well as southern Lexington County and northern Orangeburg County. And what we're looking at right now is essentially this area just north of Woodford, moving towards the east, right around 30 miles per hour. Thankfully, so far, we've been on air, I think, since around 10:20, 10:30. This system has not produced a tornado yet, so we have not seen a tornado confirmed on the ground. So this system does not actually have a system of a tornado, but it does have at least the look that it could have produced a tornado over the last hour or so. So that's why we've been on air covering this for you guys as it continues to move into the area. Let's go ahead and look. There's now a tornado or severe thunder. So it looks like we're dropping the tornado warning at 11:15. So in 1 minute, we're going to continue with a severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like the thinking here that we had pretty much that the rotation was pretty much dying out looks to be the case. So what we'll do right here is wait for another minute or so just to make sure that the tornado warning is not going to be extended past that 11:15 time frame. But right now it looks like the National Weather Service agreeing that rotation really not as healthy as what we were seeing just a bit earlier. Enough to warrant that we're still going to see a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go ahead and pull up the information actually on that.
And you can see that, Corey, that it's actually indicating that the what you're indicating from that storm cell in the National Weather Service, at least downstream, so this is going to be as it extends past the tornado warning area, you're indicating that's a severe thunderstorm warning. Yes, it may not be a tornado warning, but again, it's indicating that the hazard ahead of it that'll be getting into areas of Lower Richland, pretty much from the Congo River to Hopkins, and then into St. Matthews. So probably from the areas from St. Matthews, Burke Road, all the way down to the northern portion of Orangeburg County, and then extending all the way west to north. This area, now they're saying that it may be not tornadic when it gets there, but we're still looking at the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. So you're right that it may not be the tornado warning, but still there is damaging effects from it that could still be emanating as the storm cell goes through.
And there we go. We went ahead and put the timing up. I think we'll probably sign off here in a second, but just want to give you one last look at the timing as the system continues to move to the east. Like we talked about, large hail, damaging winds now the biggest concern with this system. Calvary School around 11:17, Beaver Creek School around 11:28, St. Matthews 11:47, Singleton 11:52. And Watery right around 12:02 a.m. Of course, a lot of wet weather moving through tonight. We'll take a little bit of a broader view once again of what's going on, because we have a lot of stormy weather moving in from the west. So you can see places like Columbia up towards Lexington, Red Bank. You're all seeing quite a bit of wet weather right now. up towards Newberry and Saluda. So with that being said, we're going to sign off right now, guys. If anything else does come up tornado warning wise, we'll let you know. And of course, you can follow us online, WLTX.com, as well as on social media. We'll keep you updated with the latest warnings as they go forward. But let's go ahead and send you guys back to your scheduled programming.